Okay, you guys, we are officially recording. All right. I am like unbelievably excited for this call because it's been so soon in the making that there's just going to be so much goodness tonight. So, Naomi is going to be sharing her story, how she got started as a coach, like her thought process. She just started at the end of April. I just looked up the date. April 28th. Okay, so literally like 4 months. Um, she's a success starter, so she has earned her free ticket to Summit next year, which is a huge accomplishment to just right out of the gate hit the ground running and really keep that momentum going. Now she's 2 coaches away from Diamond. Like that is just, I definitely did not start my business like that. So I am just so proud of her and I cannot wait to hear this. So we're just going to jump right in. So I'll let you take it away and just like go for it, girlfriend.
Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about some of my hesitations. Like when I first started, I think I was definitely, I wouldn't say skeptical, but just hesitant. Like I wanted to make sure. So number one, like my reasons for doing this, I feel like have been what's driven me to this point and what's kept me going, like my vision. And that would be so that like my husband doesn't always have to work like 3 jobs and like around the clock. I'm just like tired of it, and we've been like tired of it, but it just didn't seem like, but I also want to be home with my kids because I'm homeschooling my daughter. That's really important to me. And I feel like, yeah, so I didn't want to give that up. I don't want to put my kids in daycare full time. Like that's just not what I wanted to do personally. So being a hairdresser, like it just, you can't just, I was working from home a lot. And in the beginning, like when I just had Scarlett, it was easier because I could, when she napped, I always had clients over, and it was just when I had Oliver, it got a lot harder. And I just realized I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And also like, again, I would have to pay so much money just to put them in childcare or whatever, so I could keep doing it. So I decided that wasn't going to work for this season. But all I have to say, I feel like because the drive has been there from the beginning to like, I'm not doing this just to do it. Like I didn't sign up to just, I don't got time to mess around. I'm doing this because my family needs it. And like, we want more for our life. And we've been in this apartment for 5 years. So our kids, we've never moved with our kids, which I feel lucky in a way, but in another sense, like we're so ready. We're on the 2nd floor. We're just so ready to like have a house, have a yard, like not have neighbors below us, because my poor neighbor below me, poor guy, hears me working out early in the morning every day, but what can I do? So there's just so many factors in that. But what I was going to say, one of my fears was that I was going to be losing money every month because I wouldn't be able to like help people or find people that would want to do it with me. And I was like, we can't afford any more bills. Like, and so I think that fear has actually driven me, like not fear, but like me knowing that we can't afford any more bills has been like a big motivator for me to work hard and like help people so that I can be making more money to not only like, get some of that money back that I'm putting out, but just to grow my business in general. So that has proven to work. I mean, I basically I don't know that I've quite made all the money back, but pretty close every month at least. And some months have been more. So it's like I'm already making that money back. And that's like unheard of in businesses, right? When you first start. So I just feel like that was my thing. I was like, if I'm losing money every month for 3 months and I'm not going anywhere, then I'm not doing it. Like I made that deal to myself. But I also was going to give it everything I got because I wanted it to work. So my other concern was, because I've chosen to homeschool, it's not like my kids are going to be in school for the day and I can work when they're gone, or like I don't have breaks. Like it's like I am working a full-time job, as many of us are. So, and I don't want to be on my phone all the time. So I'm not going to sit there and put my kids in front of the TV. Like, that's not how I wanted to do it. So I was like, how am I going to make this work with keeping my priorities priority? And something I've learned through Alyssa and just trial and error is like just setting times where I'm going to work and like getting up early. It's not fun. I don't particularly like waking up at 4:30 in the morning, but that's how I can get stuff done. I can get my workout in. And I just noticed that when I slack in that area, it kind of messes everything else up. So it's making those sacrifices, really. I think I feel like I've sacrificed a lot, but I'm seeing that it's paying off. So sacrificing a lot, meaning waking up between 4:30, 5:30. And my kids wake up early. They don't sleep a lot. So it's like they go to bed, even if they go to bed at 8, they're still up at 5. So I don't have or 5:30. I'm like, if I wake up at 5, that's still like half an hour into my workout or whatever, they're there, So it's like, yeah, and Joe's gone a lot of mornings because he does the overnight shifts where he's just, he doesn't come home until later. And so I've just really had to be intentional with my time, I guess is what I'm saying. So, and especially with homeschooling Scarlett, just keeping like my priority. So that's why waking up early allows me to not like feel like I'm ruining my kids' day by getting angry at them because I didn't get my workout in time, It's not I don't want to say their fault, but like I can't blame that on them because they're kids. So they need things. So like I realize I'm just much better off if I can get it done without them. And obviously some days I don't, and we just make it work. But I've made a promise to myself I can't get mad at them because it was my choice to, do whatever I did or didn't do to get up early. So, but yeah, so one thing I've realized is just like keeping like my priorities straight as far as like what I want to do as a mom. If I'm compromising that just for my business, I won't feel right about my business and I'll just feel like crap because it's like going against everything that I believe in. But if I, strategically schedule things out so that I'm still doing what's the most important to me. And then also, being my mom boss, the mom boss that I am, I can make stuff happen. So for me, it really, the work is like maybe an hour during like quiet time for Scarlett and Oliver's nap. And the rest of it's pretty much at night. And like, I feel like that has been the biggest sacrifice, especially staying up past 10. If I'm waking up at like 4:30, it's hard. And like, I've sacrificed a lot of nights of doing things or spending time with Joe when he is home. And, but all that to say is because I've gotten that work in and just stayed, true to those hours, it just helps the flow of my day. And obviously I'm not perfect. Like there's some days where I catch myself, all right, I shouldn't be on my phone right now. I need to just focus on my kids. Because then I can, just do that well. And then later I'll do my work well. Because I realized when I was trying to do everything all at the same time, I was just flustered, frustrated, mad at everyone, not getting anywhere. So that's helped me a lot. And then like asking for help. Like whether it be finding a sitter, I'm looking into sitters. I haven't lucked out yet, but I'm looking into that because even if it's 2 hours a week, like 2 hours where I can just, and I've asked my mom works and isn't really like the babysitting type, but she's helped me the last couple of weeks because she knows that I'm like pushing hard for this. And she's done like a couple hours. I'm not talking anything crazy here, like 2 hours. And then I do her hair for her. So make up for it. But like, you know what I mean? Like seek help from other people or pay for it if you have to, because it's going to pay off in the end. I think that's something because we can't do it all. And so that's something I'm still learning, but like my house is not nearly as clean as it used to be, but I'm fine with it because I know there's like a much bigger purpose that I'm working towards. But I think with all the fears and hesitations, even like feeling down about things or feeling like I definitely had points where I was like, I am putting, and I still feel this way sometimes, like I'm putting in so much work and I don't see anything. Like I don't see any like results. And it's been helpful to like just bounce that off you, Alyssa, but just like combating that with believing in the system. Like you wouldn't be here, like all these other coaches would not be here if it didn't work. And everything that they are telling us, I'm just trying to take to heart and do. So anything Alyssa tells me to do, I do it. And anything the national wake up call people say to do, I do. Even if it's like making a fool of myself, going live, which I did. That was so embarrassing. But I was like, I'm just going to do it. Cause like everything they say to do, they're saying it for a reason. So one of those being PD, like I'm going to be honest, when you guys were all first talking about PD, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think I need to do that part. Like I'm just going to skip that part because it's kind of weird. And but something I've noticed since doing it, like especially reading The Compound Effect or listening to it, it so helps me like mentally just combat all of those like fears and self-doubt and just even like purpose, because the compound effect is all about those small choices in our day. So it's not anything crazy big. And so when you're feeling overwhelmed, or when I was feeling overwhelmed, all I had to do was just focus in on the small changes I can make in my day to push forward. So whether that be inviting 2 more people than I was going to, or whether that be waking up earlier, like waking up 15 minutes earlier, or like things like that over time make a big difference. And I started seeing it when I was listening to The Compound Effect. I started seeing how it was playing out in my business. It was just like all of a sudden, after a while of just staying consistent and in those little things, I started realizing I was gaining momentum. More people messaging me, and more people were asking questions. Like posting was really hard for me. Still is. Like, what do I post about? Like, what the heck do I post about today? Let alone, I don't have a picture. I'm like looking through my phone, trying to find all these, a bunch of crappy pictures on my phone. Like, it's, so just like, yeah, that's hard for me. But I realized when I was intentionally like making those choices to post every day, and the PD really helped with me figuring out what to post about, and then just looking and making sure I had a variety of things like in my, like on my profile. So like if I post about food yesterday, I'm not going to post like a food picture again. You know what I'm saying? Like I like to change it up. But I just realized that once I was posting more regularly, I was gaining more traction. I just had more feedback. And I feel like people really do take you a lot more seriously after they see that you're consistent, because there are a lot of people out there who are, have their own businesses similar to us. And so it's like, how are we going to stand out? We're not going to give up, basically. So that's been super helpful for me to see, because I noticed that when I stop doing the work, if I even stop doing one thing, even now, if I stop doing one thing, everything kind of just starts to roll backwards. But if I can just keep going, even if it's in small ways, if I can just keep going, the momentum just builds and builds and builds, rather than when you stop, you have to work so much harder to get back going. And that's like when you feel more frustrated, more defeated, and you feel like it's all a bunch of crap, I've been there and I felt that way, but I think I've just been on the other side, and I've seen like, okay, like, there is a difference, like when you see it for yourself, like, because we hear all the top coaches saying this over and over again, like the consistency and sharing your story and stuff. But if you stay consistent and you're being true to who you are, for everyone to see. You're gonna see the momentum build. And I've seen it firsthand with my business. So yeah, that's the other thing I've learned is just like how sharing me is what people want. And especially the people that do know you, they're going to know if what you're posting kind of aligns with what your life is. And so even though a lot of our market is cold market, like we're reaching out, you still have people that are watching you that you knew from high school or growing up or whatever, that are like, they know your personality, they know your background a little bit. And so they're going to be measuring up your post to you. I guess that's the way I think of it anyway. So I've really put a lot of thought, I guess, into like what makes Naomi Naomi, and sharing that, because what makes me is different than what makes Alyssa, Adrian, you know. So for me, like things that are important to me are my faith, my family, like I like food, and just like I'm trying to think. I like homeschooling is like a thing because that's what I'm doing, so that's a part of my life. So like those are like my groups of people, you know what I mean? So I can share about those things because that's a part of who I am. But if I was trying to share about something that wasn't me, it just wouldn't be good. And I think people feed off that. So I feel like I've also gotten comments from people like when I post stuff that's just like what you wouldn't think a coach would normally post, like me having to modify the workouts or just being real, I guess. Because sometimes people are watching you and they think, I could never do that because, well, she's just perfect at it and she's always been that way. And like, that's good for her, but you know, I can't do it because of this. It's like, no, like I'm not perfect. I, you know, struggle here or I struggle there. And I think that's like what gets people more engaged almost is like, it's kind of almost more like your failures because it makes people feel okay about theirs. So I kind of like posting about that kind of stuff because I can feel that people feel more relatable to me that way. Something I was thinking about earlier today, I was talking to a potential challenger, and she actually wanted to talk to me on the phone because she was like, I just have questions for you. And I actually appreciated her honesty because in the end she was like, I think she's going to sign up, but she was like, I've just been skeptical. Like I've been watching you, and I was like, wow, she actually said that to me. Because not everyone says it, but they're thinking it. Like they're skeptical and they think like, I don't know, like this could be a big scam. So I think it's good. She told me, she was like, I've seen when you've posted about Shakeology that you said like it gave you more energy and like, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And she was like, you need to keep doing that because she was like, I think that's what people need to see. And she's not, you know, she's not trying to coach or anything. I did invite her to that, but she's not interested right now. But she's like, it was just really cool to hear from a challenger, you know, like to hear someone flat out say, I was skeptical. But now that I'm like talking to you more, because she talked to me on the phone and I talked her through some of the things, like she was like, I don't want to be on some crazy eating plan. Like, I don't got time for that. And she's like, I see people going around in my school. Like she's a teacher. She's like with all these containers and stuff. She's like, I don't feel like doing that. And I was like, oh, you don't have to. Like, I think people have a lot of misconceptions about it. So I think sometimes it's just like taking the time to talk to people about them. And I want to like nip some more of those in the butt soon, because when she said that, I was like, man, I really need to like get into that more so that people are like knowing really what it's all about. But yeah, so I thought that was really cool. But what was I going to say about Shakeology? I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought. But all that to say, like, oh, and I've noticed too, yeah, all that to say, like, I think that just being who we are and figuring out, like, sitting down and thinking about what makes us us and then posting about things that, mean something to us. People really respond well to that. And then you're going to attract the people that you want because they're going to be like-minded to you. And that's something I've noticed on Instagram. I feel like I finally have gotten like a hold on like how to expand my network well. And for me, it's like a lot of homeschool moms because we just share a lot of similarities in life. But I've noticed like I can just start talking to them about that first instead of just being like, hey, do you want to join my group? Because every single person that I've said that to so far is like, no, thanks, I'm good. And I'm still doing it. I'm still asking, like if they're watching my stories, I'm like, I invite them, but I've just been like, I can tap into homeschooling because that's part of me, and so we can talk about something else first and it naturally comes up. They're like, oh, what do you do? And so that's been cool because I can tell that I'm starting to warm some of them up through that. But that's probably the part that takes time. I haven't seen the other side of that yet as much, but I think it just takes time. And they're watching my stories. So if they're watching your stories, then they must be watching them for some reason, right? So yeah. Alyssa, what else should I talk about?
Oh my gosh, I'm just like sitting here like just any question that I wrote down, like 2 seconds later it got answered. So that is just so helpful. And I like just from when you first started, like literally blowing up my phone with texts or voice messages or whatever, just like question after question after question. I remember you saying like I feel like I'm so annoying, but like asking questions and like diving right in, you hear my dog, is like exactly what you need to be doing. And so I love hearing these shifts of like, you were skeptical in the beginning and like just seeing you grow is just so amazing. But I am wondering, and we can even open this up for like a Q&A thing. I'm wondering about a couple things. When you were first inviting, like what were your fears, or if you had any, about inviting in the beginning? Like, I'm afraid to be salesy, and then how you overcame that. Like, what did that change look like for you, like from your first invites to now?
Yeah, I think one thing that's been super helpful is like just staying consistent with like drinking my shakes. I'm like, I see more of the value in it now. And I feel like in the beginning I would say things, especially to close friends, well, it's kind of expensive, because I was like afraid that they would think, what do you think of? You're crazy. You think I'm gonna spend that much on a shake? But now I'm like, no, like it's totally worth it. And I think because I feel the difference when let's be real, I've skipped a lot of days drinking my shakes, okay? Like when I've gone away, or just like some days I honestly don't want them, but I think it's because I haven't like planned out the best time to have them. So all that to say, when I don't though, I'm like, give me the chocolate, give me the crap, basically. So now I've been drinking, I'm consistent with them now because I've realized, so I think that and the workout, same thing with the workouts. It's like when you are consistent with them and you see the benefits, it really, you believe in it a lot more because you see how worth it is. And like, so for me, Shakeology is huge for my energy. Like I don't have a lot of stomach problems, so I can't relate that to people as much, but like energy, if I don't have it, I literally crash like halfway through the day and I'm just like, give me like sugar, and I just feel so much better. And this time when we went away, I made shakes for like everyone, not everyone, but I made them for like whoever wanted it, because I was like, it's either me leaving my shakes at home and feeling like crap for the weekend and eating junk, or just bringing it and making them for everyone and I'll feel better. And that's what I did. And I was so glad I did. So I think now when I talk about shakes, that's the hardest thing for me is Shakeology, or it was. Now I'm like, I think it was one of the national wake up calls. I forget who it was, but she was like, I don't sell, like I hardly ever sell something that's not a challenge pack. And I was like, because at that time I was like, oh, you can just get by. Like, that's okay. You don't want to. And now I'm like, no, you absolutely have to try Shakeology, even for 1 month. I promise you, like, just trust me on this. And like, I just don't make it an option not to, basically. And so I think that's helped build my confidence, is to like know for myself how worth it is. I can relay that to other people. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Just so good. Okay, next question I have is, I'm curious about Joe's perspective. Like when you first started talking about maybe coaching, because you like grilled me with questions before you signed up. Like you did your research, and I'm curious to see or to hear what his thought process was when you were talking about it, like when you signed up, and then, you know, how making those sacrifices, how he thought, what he thinks about that.
I think for him, I mean, he's always been behind me, and he's kind of like the type of person that's like, yeah, if you want to do it, do it. And I'm like, no, but like I need a little bit more than that. So he's been behind me doing it. I think but lately he's like, girl, you're on fire. Like he's like all excited for me. And it helps me a lot. Like, but not to say he's had moments, because he's seen, like, I've been a mess, guys. Like I've been so overwhelmed at times and so tired, and he's seen all of it. And so there was a time when he was like, well, maybe this just isn't the right time. And I don't think it's because he actually believed that. I think it's just because he didn't like to see me struggling. But now I think, and the more he's even watched some videos on like coaches and what the potential is there, and I think he realizes like, and he's so like, he's like, wow, I think because he sees how hard I'm working, like every night I'm just on my computer for like at least 3 hours, I feel like, doing my work, and I don't let anything get in the way of that, because I want this to work. So I don't have time to dilly-dally. Like I want to be doing the big things, you know? And maybe that's like part of what's helped me, is because I'm like, we really need the money. So maybe that is part of why I'm like so driven to do it too. Because I'm like, all right. But he's super like supportive, and he's really proud of me. He even told me that he like brags about me to the guys at the firehouse, which is not like his personality. He's not like that. And he's not like a big words person. He doesn't like, I'm like totally words of affirmation, so I can build anybody up and no problem. But like for him, that it's not his love language. So for him to say that, it means a lot to me. I think he really sees the value in it, and he's doing the workouts and drinking the shakes. So I think he really is starting to believe in it more and more.
That's so awesome. I guess, why don't we open it up if anybody has like specific questions or questions about certain processes that Naomi has. If anybody has questions for her, feel free to ask. Why don't, if you could tell a brand new coach, like just signed up today, what would their first step be?
Their first step, I would say just getting on track with their own like stuff, I guess. I haven't really thought about that, but probably just getting into a rhythm of their workouts, their shakes, their whatever they're eating. Start listening to PD like ASAP. Because I think that's where you really build the confidence, and it helps grow your drive. And like for me, the PD helps me feel like things are more attainable. Like, because before reading or listening to the compound effect, I just felt like, I was like, I feel so far from everything like that I want. But after reading that, it's like, no, like you have to start somewhere. So just keep going. So I would say to a new coach, get started on your own journey. I think it does take time for me, it took time to get in a group, especially being like having a full-time job, being a stay-at-home mom. It's not like you have all day to like, listen to PD like quietly, uninterrupted, do your work. Like now I'm going to invite, like that took me a little bit to get used to like doing all of it, especially in a day. It's still hard for me to get it all in a day, but just doing it in the cracks. But I guess for a new coach, I would just say, like, focus on you first and still share, but like, because I think when you're, the PD is the biggest part too, like as far as building confidence, but when you're being fed that way, it's naturally gonna like pour out onto other people.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, perfect.
Have you like broken into your cold market yet, or are all your people still your warm market? And like, if you have tapped into your cold market, like how did you do that? Like, did you like start with like building relationships and then go in with like an invite, or like how did you like build, like bridge that gap?
Yeah. So, I mean, no one that has signed up under me so far has been totally cold. So, I mean, I think something that's helped also is just not like deciding for someone. That was one of the national wake up calls too, is like not, I think that's what it was, or maybe it was something else, but not like assuming anything about anyone. So like I told Alyssa, I invited Joe's ex-girlfriend to coaching yesterday. Like, I don't care. I'm still going to invite her. So it's like a warm market, like go back to high school, go back to like when people say don't have any warm market, I don't know about that, because you must know some people in the world. So whether it's reconnecting, like my warm market, it's not like they're all my best friends. You know what I mean? It's just like, even if it's like a friend of a friend, but that being said, I haven't helped anyone so far that I have, that's been totally cold. But I've been talking to people, and I think, and that's what I was kind of referring to as like far as I think that's just going to take time, because they need to see more of my story. And I think that's where the consistency plays out, because they're not going to, they all say, no, thanks, but they don't say like, never, I'm never going to. Most of them say, not right now, maybe later, or like, not right now, but I'm going to keep watching you. And I think that's where it helps to tap into people that you have things in common with. Because I mean, right now, I feel like I've pretty much invited everyone in my warm market. So I'm like reaching out to pretty much people that are all cold market. But I can talk to them about being a firefighter wife or being a homeschool mom. And like this chick I met the other day, she was like, she didn't even have on her Instagram thing that she was a firefighter wife too, but she was like, I'm a firefighter wife too. Like, and we just talked about that for like a little bit. And she's like, I'll be watching you. Like, I'm not going to sign up right now, but I'll be watching you. So I'm like, sweet. So I think that helps build my confidence too. Cause at first I was thinking it too. I'm like, how am I ever gonna, like, these people don't know me, but that's where the time and consistency I think comes in, because I can already tell people that said no to me a couple months ago that were cold market, they're following my stories. And so I think that's just how I'm warming them up. But I'll keep you posted if I get anyone, if I help anyone. That's going to be a big celebration, I think, when that happens.
So how did you like reconnect with your warm market? I feel like that's always kind of awkward. Like, hey, how you been since high school? Want to join a challenge group?
Yeah. Well, I mean, nothing could be more awkward than asking your husband's ex-girlfriend. Like, I don't know her. I've never met her in my life. And he has literally an A cut into his arm from when he was dating her. Like, we're laughing about that. Anyway, that's besides the point. But all I'm saying is, like, I just don't care. Like, I just don't care. I think all I said was like, hey, girl, I hope you're doing well. Like, you don't have to. I think sometimes I felt like, oh, I have to like come up with this whole big story. But people know when you're like being real and when you're being fake. So like, if you just say like, hey, how are you doing? Or like sometimes with a lot of the cold market people too, I'll say something that I appreciate about their page, or like, I love connecting with other homeschool moms, or I love connecting with, and then if it's like an old warm market person, like I will say, I haven't seen you since high school. I said that to somebody about, what was it? Oh, I haven't seen you since we lived in Germany. Like, I haven't seen you since like 10 years ago. I say that because that's pretty much the only thing I have in common with them at that point. So I think that's what it is. I just wrap my brain about it. It's finding something, the last thing or the first thing that comes to your mind that you have in common with that person. I guess that's what I go to. Because, I mean, I don't have enough friends to supply my, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have that many friends, but you got to dig up all those people. That sounds terrible to say, but you know what I'm saying?
So freaking awesome. We have like less than 2 minutes left, but I am like just blown away with how, I mean, I could sit here all night and just say like, just from day one to now is just, I feel like I'm learning so much too about like consistency and like what it can actually do and what it takes to like truly show up for your business every day and not just say you're doing this stuff, but actually be honest with yourself and say, okay, these are my goals, so these are the actions I need to take to get there, instead of these are my goals, I'm just going to kind of sort of try and see if I can make it happen. You know, like make the mindset shift and actually put in the effort, and you will completely see it pay off. So just trusting the process. I know that was a struggle for you in the beginning, but it's just amazing. I'm so happy to see that it's paying off for you now.
Yeah. I just wanted to encourage other people more than like, I don't think I'm anything great. And I'm still learning just as much as you guys. And I feel like a failure most of the time. And I still don't feel like I'm seeing I feel like I'm not really seeing the payoff like financially yet, but I know it's coming. So I'm just going to keep working at it. But I just want you guys to know that I believe you guys can do it 100%. Like if I can do it, you can do it. It's just like not caring what people think is huge when it comes to inviting.
For sure. All right, guys, it's about to kick us off, so I'll wrap it up. But thank you so, so much. I'll post the recording. Naomi, you are a boss, girl.
Bye, guys. Thank you.